A 37-year-old woman, mother of 3 children of different ages, shares her story. She was married for 15 years to a man who was incredibly attractive, a real macho type. But what no one saw from the outside was that he had been addicted to illicit sex since he was just 12 years old. He carried this addiction into their marriage. And for years, she believed it was her role, her duty, to forgive him no matter what. She says, "But deep down, I didn't know what to do. I had grown up with a physically and emotionally abusive, alcoholic mother. She was the typical kind. I thought pain was part of love." Television. If this is your first time on the channel, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Now, let's continue. As she read Robin Norwood's book, her husband confessed something devastating. He had cheated on her, again, with another woman. That was the breaking point. She left him. She stayed at home with her children and told him, "You need to leave. I don't want you here anymore. You need therapy. You need help from the church and the elders." To her surprise, he agreed. He admitted for the first time that he was addicted. He was emotionally broken. And for the first time in 20 years, he cried. Really cried. And even though she had been so strong for so long, she broke down too. "I cry all the time," she says. "I can't go anywhere. I'm drowning in this pain. I've held this in for so long, even when we separated 6 weeks ago." She wrote to Robin, "I trust you. I know you understand." Love letter. Another letter. From a woman in recovery. A different woman writes to Robin, "I want to thank you for your response to my letter last December." She left her husband in November, and shortly after, the two of them attended a 3-day professional seminar led by Dr. Patrick Carnes, a leading expert in sexual addiction. There, her husband finally saw himself in the description of a sex addict. And she, in turn, discovered something else. "I realized I was sexually codependent." She began therapy with Dr. Carnes and entered recovery. They agreed on a period of abstinence, a break from sex to reset their emotional patterns. "It was incredibly painful," she writes. "I cried constantly. I became deeply depressed. I faced a reality more brutal than anything I had ever known." She began confronting the wounds from her childhood, especially those tied to growing up in an alcoholic home. She read books like It Will Never Happen to Me by Claudia Black and attended 8 weeks of group seminars. "I felt suicidal," she admits. "I was terrified for my husband and for myself." For the first time in her life, she was crying all the tears she had never allowed herself to feel. And yet, she realized, leaving him wasn't the solution either. One day, after hitting rock bottom, she sat on her bed, overwhelmed by guilt, holding only her self-help books. "I felt like I was being asked to climb a mountain, barefoot." But slowly she kept going, step by step. The only thing she kept doing regularly? Her aerobics classes. "I started learning what it meant to take care of myself. Not to obsess over my weight or punish my body, but to feel my strength. To stop trying to control or manipulate my husband." Now, her husband has been sober for 9 months. He's become a sponsor and a role model in his recovery group. But she admits, "My own addiction, to control, to fear, to guilt, felt even deeper than his. You can't hide what's broken inside." She finally began to focus on herself. She started working her own recovery, not his. Now, they are back together. 3 months strong. She feels like she can breathe again. "I haven't had a panic attack since I started reading your book. I've suffered from panic attacks for 16 years and chronic anxiety for 12. I used to try to cover it all up, with performance, religion, or sex. Now I admit I needed help." She writes, "I always wanted to be the doctor, never the patient. I thought I could think my way out of the pain. But it was only through surrender that I began to heal. Through the 12-step program, she finally began to understand what it means to truly trust God. Not just intellectually, but emotionally. And she also saw a pattern. My depression wasn't just sadness. It was a way to punish myself, to keep putting my husband on a pedestal, and to keep blaming myself. Letting go of that dynamic began to heal her. Now, as I write this letter, I feel peace inside me. I made mistakes, but I'm recovering, and so is my husband. That's the miracle. She ends with gratitude. I was lucky. My husband chose to stay and recover, but I had to let him go first, to say, this is not acceptable. And when I did, it helped both of us. Repeat button. The pattern of codependency. Robin Norwood points out that this story, and many like it, shows just how deep codependency runs. In many cases, women choose men who already have visible issues: addiction, instability, emotional unavailability. Sometimes we're aware of it. Sometimes we deny it. But we always hope we can fix them. I thought if I just loved him enough, he would change. But Robin shows us these choices are often defenses, distractions from our own deeper wounds, traumas, and fears. Even the careers we choose, the partners we attract, all can be a subconscious way of avoiding our own pain. Recovery means finally looking at ourselves. Seedling final reflection. Every recovery is a miracle. Recovery doesn't happen by accident. It takes surrender, humility, and relentless courage. And statistically, not everyone recovers. Some never find the strength. But those who do, like Catherine, become living miracles. Healing is possible. You're not broken. You're awakening. If this story touched you, subscribe, like, and stay with us for more real letters from women who are walking the path of healing. One brave step at a time.